Welcome back, everybody. In this week's vid, I'm going to be heading back out into the garden to show you some cool tricks and tips to keep all your plants happy and healthy. Let's go. In this week's vid, we're going to be learning how to fix a screen door. I've always wondered why sliding doors like this seem to stay smooth after years of use, but a screen door will go bad after like 2 months. So in this video, I'm going to investigate why that is, hopefully restore it to its former glory, and as a bonus, I'm going to teach you how to sharpen a knife and properly clean a toilet, because I really want to ensure you get the most value out of this video as possible. Now there's a few reasons I've found as to why these last longer than these, other than the fact that obviously the inside glass doors are made to provide some form of security, so they're just made sturdier. The glass doors are heavier and wider, which means that not only is there a wider amount sitting on the track and therefore more stable, it's also heavier, so the weight pressing down on those casters in the tracks makes sure that it doesn't come free. If I try to lift the glass door up, I can do it. I can pull it out, it's just much harder. Compare that with this, very light, it's really easy to derail. You can see right here this little notch that this guide rail is supposed to go into. And there's a wheel in there that helps it roll along. But because it's so light, any slight provocation can cause it to pop out. But the next important question is, why are there provocations? Why, when I open and close this, does it not smoothly move? Well, my prevailing theory is that this edge is actually sliding and grinding along the bottom here, which is causing friction that makes it pop up and out. So here's my thought process. The god-awful screeching it gives off when you open and close it is enough evidence to me that something's rubbing. But if I want to know if it's rubbing inside this track, I can just put this piece of paper here. And if I open the door, well, it pushes the paper, which is evidence that it's at least close to the track, but close is not touching. So if I move it up and get it underneath there and open it, yeah, it kind of looks like it's rubbing. Okay, plan number one, inconclusive. But I also noticed there's this dust here. So if I make these score marks in the dust and then slide the door over it, we can see if it breaks them. Okay, here's my next test. If I put powdered sugar in the cracks, and then I run the door over it, I should be able to see if it was rubbing. And we can see while it made an indent in the powdered sugar, it didn't push it away. So at least right here, it's not rubbing. All right, in my investigation of the problem, I think I found the culprit. I don't think the door frame was rubbing anywhere. But if you look at this wheel, you see right there how broken it is. And you see the rubbing spots over to the right. You can kind of see why it's probably not spinning correctly. So I'm wondering if it's just sliding along the right because the wheel is broken. I don't know how to fix that. Okay, maybe I do know how to fix that. I found this screw right here that when you unscrew it, it adjusts the level of the wheel. So hopefully I can bring it out and therefore not have the whole thing drag on the floor. Oh dear Lord, it's already screwed out all the way. So basically what's going on here is, this is the part that's busted. You can kind of see how the edge was grinding in there. But right here, you can see on this rust spot, that's where this screw pushes in. So the more you screw this screw in, the more it tilts and the more the wheel sticks out, which is what we want. Right now, it's not stuck out enough, so that's why it's rubbing. So if we push that screw in, it should stick out. Only problem is, that screw in question doesn't want to cooperate. This screw, I removed it, which allowed me to take this whole thing out, from what I understand. But this screw does not want to move, no matter how hard I wrench at it. And I don't want to strip it. So my best bet is to lubricate the threads and hope I can screw it in and out. I'm not sure. All right, so I just yanked the entire wheel assembly out of the door, which you're not supposed to do, but hopefully this way I'll be able to fix it a bit more easily. Okay, now that I've ripped the guts out of the screen door, here's how it works. This wheel right here fits into here. And this screw, when you screw it in, pushes this wheel up so that it sticks out more. The problem is, as it is right now, you can see right here where the track is rubbed against the plastic and not on the wheel. And also the wheel is kind of broken, so that's not helping anything. The problem is I can't screw this in for some reason. It's stuck. But if I could move this so that the wheel would stick out more and the wheel would be contacting the track and not the plastic. Also, for whatever reason, it's stuck, so I'm having a problem screwing it in. So I'm gonna have to try to clean it, lubricate it, whatever, get it into a place where I can actually screw it in and out. Now, these are wire cutters, AKA not the correct tool for the job, but they can bite in and they have a high amount of torque. So if I can get this to turn, that would be ideal. Which I'm not able to. What the heck is wrong with this thing? Since I'm renting this house through work, I think I'll just bring it into work today and ask if they have any tools that can actually get this thing screwed in and out. Okay, so I took this thing to work, explained what the deal was, explained that all I needed to do was turn this screw, and they said, you know what? If the wheel on there is broken and the screw's busted, we'll just send someone out to give you a new one. Which kind of stinks when the whole point of your video is to show how to fix it yourself, but given that I'm paying them 18,000 yen a month, I think that's a fair deal. So while I'm waiting for them to come by Thursday to fix it, I kind of jury-rigged a solution myself. So while I can't screw this in and lengthen the screw on the other side, I glued a little pebble in between the screw and the wheel. Hopefully that'll stay, and hopefully that'll move it down enough, but not too much, so that it will stay on the track and it will not rub on here anymore. So as you can see, it's not perfect, but it is working a lot better. I'm genuinely curious to see what all the repairmen say when they come and find that I fixed it by gluing a rock inside it. And I'm also curious to see how much better it will work when we actually get new pieces instead of the cruddy, half-broken stuff that it's got right now. When I moved into this house, unfortunately, it only came with one knife. And as you can see, it's not very sharp. So especially since I want to use this later in the video, I'm going to show you how to sharpen a knife. And luckily, I have just the tools to do that. Now, I haven't used a whetstone since I was a Cub Scout, so it's probably wise to read the instructions. Frick. Okay, as far as I can tell, step number 1 is to soak it in water for 5 minutes, which, I've only got 20 left to film, so this is great. Okay, I don't know if you can hear this, but it's fizzing from the logos. What? All right, so that's been soaking for an adequate amount of time. Oh, frick. Anyway, pulling from my own knowledge and what I could discern from Google Translate's rendition of the instructions, let's begin. The first thing I want to point out is that this is a double-sided whetstone. It even says right here, Ryomen Toishi, which literally means both face whetstone. And right here we have two numbers, 1,000 and 6,000. Now with sandpaper, and I do believe whetstones as well, the number means the amount of grains per whatever area, square inch, square centimeter, whatever the standard is. So the higher the number, that means there are more grains packed into a smaller area, which means that it's finer, essentially. So a lower number means rougher, a higher number means finer. So we want to do the rougher side first to get down most of the dullness and get close to where we want to be. And then we want to use the higher number to really polish it down and get that nice knife edge. Now, according to the instructions, we want to sharpen at a 45-degree angle to the stone with a 15-degree angle up, which it says is the size of 2 yen coins. Now, here's the thing. This came with the stone. The instructions do not mention any of it, and it is thicker than 2 yen coins. So my thought was that it was for this purpose, but I don't know. All right, not gonna lie, this is embarrassing, but it said 2 10 yen coins, not 1 yen coin. But I know from the research I did when I made my own coin case, link to that vid in the description, that they're basically the same width. Okay, because this is a standard kitchen butcher knife, it's gonna be sharpened on both sides like this. So we'll be placing it at a 15-degree angle up, that 2 coin length, and we're gonna be sharpening it at a 45-degree angle to the whetstone. And we're just gonna be slowly rubbing it back and forth like so. And now that I think I've sharpened the knife with 1,000 grit, it's time to polish it up with the 6,000 grit. So unless I'm mistaken, which is a very real possibility, I think this is actually knife dust. Before, the red stuff was the ground down whetstone itself coming off, but this, I think, is actual pieces of the knife coming off as this whetstone is slowly grinding it down. So theoretically, if I have sharpened this enough, the last part is to get rid of the little burrs by just kind of doing this a little bit, just to get rid of anything that might be hanging on there that might mess with our cuts. Well, that took a ridiculously long time, but in any case, the big question becomes, how does it cut? Good enough for me. Well, now that this is done, or at least as done as it needs to be, I can finally use it for the next part of the video. Yep, welcome folks to my humble toilet room. If you'll remember from my house tour video, it's not that big, but it's here that I'll be showing you how to clean a toilet and how a toilet works. Because if working as an RA for 4 years was any indication, a shockingly high number of people do not know how the standard household appliance found in pretty much every single modern home works. Okay, so now that I've finally got a nice and pointy pointer tool, I can finally use it to teach you all how a toilet works. So, here's the flush handle, there's the chain, down there is the flapper, this is the overfill tube, that's the float valve, and then this is the actual part where the water comes in. So I'm gonna flush it, and I want you to watch that float valve and see what it does. Don't mind the torrent of water come. Oh God! Ah! So anyway, in a normal toilet, it doesn't usually jet the frick out like that, and I'll explain why it does that in mine in a bit. But, as you probably saw, the flush valve here has a small and a large setting. The small setting opens the flapper a little bit, the large setting opens it up a lot. It lets the water down, which rushes into the actual basin of the toilet. The float falls down, which opens up the valve to fill the tank back up. Then, as the tank fills up, the float floats back up, closes the valve, and any excess water goes through the overflow tube into the bowl. Now, the interesting thing that can be said about the flushing process is, aside from the actual pump that puts water back in, this is all just powered automatically by gravity. So if you're experiencing something like a power outage, as long as you can fill the tank back up with, say, rainwater you collected from your gutters, you can flush the toilet again. Now, the reason it's such high pressure is because my toilet is hooked up to this sink here, so when you flush it, theoretically, you can wash your hands, although there's no place to put soap. So this just fills up the tank. Normally, in a toilet without this, it would just fill up the tank normally. Now, there's a couple other parts and features. Down there is the valve to shut the water off. If I turn this knob right here and try to flush it, I can. It just won't fill back up. Turn it back on. There we go, no problem. Also, we have a small flush and a large flush option. Basically how that works is it just pulls the flapper up more or less, which lets more or less water flow through. Also, this is a bidet. I'd show you how it works, but I don't think it actually does. So without further ado, let's get to the moment you've all been waiting for. Now, in order to actually clean the toilet, what you're gonna do is take your brush, and we're actually gonna push this water down. We want to get all this water down above the U-bend so it's not touching the part of the boil that we want to clean, and therefore it won't dilute anything that we put in there. Then you'll take your dumper bottle and you'll literally just squeeze it all around the inside. Also get the rim if your rim's a little dirty, and just squeeze it all around there, and then let it sit. And as you can see, I come back a few hours later, and all of that nasty crud is gone. All right, folks, that shall wrap it up for this week. I am now the proud owner of a smoother door, a sharper knife, and a cleaner toilet. The repair guy did indeed come and take a look at my door. He said that it was good enough for now, but he didn't have the part, so he'd come back later. I don't know what that means. By the way, a fun fact about this video was that it was supposed to be short and easy in order to get me a little bit ahead of schedule so I could have some breathing room. That being said, it's now less than 7 hours away from when this goes live, and I'm recording the outro. If you'd like to help continue to give me the motivation to keep making these, please do subscribe, comment down below, interact with stuff. Check out my other social media. I post cool things on my Instagram and random things on my Twitter. But most of all, I'd recommend my Twitch. It's where I love to go and hang out with everybody who watches my videos, which as of yet hasn't been many people. So make my day, make your day, check me out. But until next time, bye.